Hello everyone, this is Dr. Leila Ghalban, and today we're going to talk more about argument structure. Here we go. First, what's an argument? An argument is a structure which has a number of elements, and these elements work together in order to help someone convince someone else of his or her point of view. Let's see what are these elements. First, claims. And claims are statements, stances, points of view, conclusions, opinions, assertions that speakers believe in and they want others to believe in too. Second element, grounds. And grounds are reasons, data, facts, experts' testimonies, which are used in order to support claims and make claims logical and justifiable and appealing to listeners and readers or recipients in general. Number 3, warrants. And warrants are the links or the joints that relate these two elements. Warrants are relevant, general, shared, agreed upon principles, values, things we all believe in as a society, things we assume, they are assumptions. They warrants also could be laws, could be theories we build our conclusions on, could be policies, could be rules, hunches, inductions, inferences, things we deduce. And warrants are bridges that link claims to grounds or grounds to claims. Something we rely on in order to authorize the step or the movement from claims to grounds or from grounds to claims. A very important thing you must know about warrants is that most of the time warrants are not stated clearly. They are not overtly stated or put forward straightforwardly. You must deduce them, you must infer them, you must make some deduction because they are taken for granted things, convictions, assumptions, and so on that we all believe in as a society. Rules, principles كلنا متفقين عليها as a society we believe in, and they govern our life and they provide solid support for or solid links between grounds and claims. So if you have some claims and some grounds without having warrants that are solid, that govern the way people behave and the way people lead their life, these arguments will not be okay, will not be sound, and there will not be a logical link or bridge between claims and grounds. And the whole argument will be so weak and not that solid, okay? Let's take a number of argument examples. I have drawn from many sources, and most of them I have drawn from the BBC website. So let's examine them. The purpose of this discussion is to get you familiar with the elements of argument and to know how to identify for yourself and by yourself the different elements of arguments. What is a claim? How can you identify it? And what are the grounds? And how can claims and grounds be linked by means of warrants? These are very important elements of any argument, and we must have the skill to identify them. And we encounter this in our life because in our daily conversations we find that arguments are everywhere, and our speech is full of arguments because we want to convince people, we want to persuade them to do things for us, to believe in what we believe, and so on. And argumentation is a very important element of human speech and a very important function of human language. Okay, let's take the first argument. Ahmed is a good son. What is this? It's a claim. How did we know? This is grounds, this is evidence. He takes good care of his parents. What is the relationship between claim here and ground? How can we link them? Yeah, here is the warrant. The warrant, you will not find it written this way, but you have to assume, to deduce it, to infer it, تستنتجه. Okay? Good children take good care of their parents and pay back. And as Ahmed is doing so, he is a good son. So here I generalize. I'm not talking only about Ahmed. I am making a conclusion that any child who is, any son who is taking good care of his parents is a good son, is a good boy. And we have to believe in this, because this is something we agreed upon. It's a fact, it's a principle mabda that we as a society believe in. Then once we have a child who is behaving this way, or a son who is behaving this way and taking good care of his parents, we conclude, or we can say that he is really a good boy, a good son. So the warrant links both the claim and the grounds. By means of what? By means of warrants based on facts, based on values, social values, and based on social traditions, and based on social principles, and so on. يبقى المبادئ والحقائق والتقاليد والحاجات كلها warrants هي بتبقى justification بالنسبة لنا. We base our arguments on, and we use them in order to link or move forward from claims to grounds, to build the overall argument. Let will make the whole overall argument and make a good and solid argument. Let's take number 2. Yeah, another argument. COVID-19 would have catastrophic consequences. This is a claim. COVID-19, coronavirus, the pandemic that is paralyzing the world and affecting every single person in the world, and putting people under lockdown, and negatively impacting societies, economies, states, and, everywhere. COVID-19 would have catastrophic consequences. This is a claim, a point of view. Why? Why the speaker says that? What are the grounds? The grounds are the World Bank president warned that the pandemic would push over 50 million people into extreme poverty. This is one reason. And children would not be able to go to schools. Okay. And number 3, the rate of unemployment would be soaring, rising, rocketing. So these are repercussions. Negative impacts of the catastrophe of the COVID-19 pandemic. And who said that? The president of the World Bank. What's the warrant here? How can we link that? The warrant here is that World Bank is a world organization, and any warning that is this or put by these organizations must be taken so seriously. Why? Because they know more. As the World Bank president and the World Bank staff are working, and they have statistics, and they have data, and they know more about the situation of the coronavirus and its repercussions internationally, and it is giving these warnings based on data and based on facts that the bank has been collecting. And as long as the bank is an authority who have had that to know something we believe in, or something that is having the the status to do that, so we conclude, or we can say that as long as the bank, the World Bank is issuing these warnings and making such statements, okay, we can believe in, because the World Bank is an authority in itself. Let's go to another. Here is more discussion. Given that world organizations like World Banks issue such strong warnings, which are based on figures, this means that there would be catastrophic consequences. But as long as the World Bank issues such things and issues such warnings, okay, we are ready to accept the claim that COVID-19 really would have catastrophic consequences. Let's move on to the following argument. Giving is a very self-rewarding action. To give people, to give charity and to help the poor and to volunteer and all these nice and self-rewarding things. It's really, really self-rewarding. We give to ourselves before we give others. Okay, Why do we feel that, or do we think, or do we believe, or should we believe that giving is a very self-rewarding action? Studies show that giving makes us happier, and when we give to ourselves satisfaction and wellness. Okay, it gives one's life some purpose and sense. It creates closeness and solidarity. These are three pieces of evidence that support the claim, which is giving is a very self-rewarding action. How can I write a warrant linking these two elements? Here I will generalize. أنا أعمل بقى مش بس giving لا actions that make us feel better are self-rewarding. Any action you make in order to help people and to give charity and to volunteer and to help the poor and or to do anything to help the community, these things are these actions are very self-rewarding. You reward yourself before you reward others. You treat yourself before you treat others. It's a treat for yourself. حاجة بتدلع يعني بيها نفسك بتكافئ بيها نفسك. These are what? These are facts. Based on what? On studies. طب احنا ليه should we believe this? Because studies are things that we should believe and believe, because these are tasks or things done by experts, and we believe in experts, and we put our trust in studies which give us thorough analysis of the situation that's being under consideration. Okay. طيب يبقى ايه هنا نوع من نوع الورنت هنا؟ it's a fact or it's something by definition. As long as you give to people, you give also to yourself. Okay, so based on this, we can conclude that giving is a self-rewarding action. Based on all these things, we can conclude that really giving is a very self-rewarding action. Let's move to another argument. Yes, Republic Records, one of the most powerful record labels in the US, will stop using the word urban to describe music of black origin. ده شركة تسجيلات in America, very powerful and very famous, and is working in entertainment industry. The company decided to stop using the word urban. Why? Because this is an offensive word and it's used to describe music of black origin. You know, it has bad connotations. It has bad connotation. It has negative connotations. يعني it's offensive. It's derogatory word and so on. يعني طب why do they do that? They do that because of the current huge protests that are taking place after the death of George Floyd, the Afro-American in police custody. This death has triggered a lot of huge protests worldwide, and also has given momentum to some movements such as Black Lives Matter. And also makes the sounds or the voice of the weak people and the vulnerable people stronger and louder, and it really has made tremendous changes in institutionally and politically and socially and so on, because topics such as or issues such as racism and racial injustice and social inequality, all these things which were kept in the silence for so much time. Now it's time to talk about them overtly and to discuss them and to put things in order and to make or achieve some sort of social justice and equality. So in line with these things, this company decided not to use this word. تمام؟ السبب اهو the term is often considered to be a generalization that marginalizes music by black artists. كأنك ايه يعني it's a stigma يعني سبة. You know, urban كلمة urban برضه is a lazy connotation, lazy inaccurate generalization of several culturally rich art forms. You know, this word, you know, it's not an accurate description, because you know, black arts and are very rich and they are very popular and gaining a momentum. Rappers and Afro-American artists. They are culturally very influential. Okay, this is according to the presenter DJ Semtex. Okay, and then what is the warrant بقى? The word here we're gonna generalize in the offensive words, any offensive words to some groups, okay, which are used to describe some groups and some races must be avoided. ليه يا جماعة? In order to accelerate efforts in areas of inclusion and social justice. What is this? إيه القضية ديت يعني؟ values, human values, human principles, that we are all humans and we must be equal. And we should get rid of all forms of injustice. And racism and inequality must be put away from society and must come to an end. These are human values. And in light or in accordance with these human values, we can conclude that these grounds really justify putting forward this claim or supports this claim. يبقى الورنت ممكن يبقى fact, ممكن يبقى principle, ممكن يبقى value, could be, let's say, an assumption, it could be law, it could be constitution, it could be an analogy, it could be, it could be an authority زي ما شفنا في World Bank president who warns against the catastrophic repercussions of COVID-19 and so on. Let's take another example, number 5. Britain's world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua described racism as a pandemic when he addressed protesters at the Black Lives Matter. طبعا عارفين Black Lives Matter. This is a movement that is working hard in order to achieve racial equality and to end all forms of racism policies and measures that are taking place against Afro-Americans and all and any races and minorities. هنا عندنا جوشوا اللي هو heavyweight champion بيدسكرايب الراجل ده racism as a pandemic. Okay, طب why تبقى في grounds? The racism virus has been instrumental in taking lives, killing people, taking lives of young, old, rich, poor, It is unapologetic and spreads across all sectors. The racism affects everyone. Racism harms everyone. It takes the lives of many people, old, young, rich, poor. So it looks like COVID-19. It's really viral. It looks like a virus. So let's see the warrant. Warrant هنا بقى يبقى قائم على إيه؟ When something gets out of control and kills people, it's a virus. It is really a virus. And as racism kills and spreads uncontrollably, it's a virus too. Because the virus kills and gets out of control, racism is behaving just like a virus. So we can say that it is really a virus. So the warrant here is based on what? Analogy, الشبه, تشبه. Okay? Between racism and a virus. Okay? ده برضو نوع من الورنت. Okay, let's go to another argument number 6. Students should do homework. Claim. Why? Many experts argue that doing homework helps students learn better. This is a point of view based on what? Or proposed by what? By whom? By many experts. And why should we believe in this? Because experts are people we trust. There is some sort of public trust in what experts say because they know more than us. They know better than us, and they have a say in educational affair. And when they say that doing homework is good, okay? So the word here, tasks, not only, we're going to generalize, tasks or activities that help students do better should be encouraged. This warrant is founded on an expert's opinion, whom we put our trust, or in whom we put our trust. And as long as we trust experts, and experts say so we must take their comments and their recommendations into consideration and support the claim that students should do homework. Okay, so what's the kind of warrant here? It's expert testimony. We look for expert testimony in order to support or justify the relationship between claims and grounds. Okay. Online teaching is gaining more popularity among students. Okay, throughout the last 3 months, you have been experiencing online teaching. I think that you can judge it, and of course there are pros and cons, and we must weigh both of them, because no activity is problem-free. There must be advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so this is the point of view that it's gaining more popularity. Why يا جماعة؟ grounds بتقول statistics show that 6% of students prefer online teaching. Okay, statistics. So we believe in statistics, because statistics here, if we say statistics this is science. Statistics are, here we talk about statistics belonging to different studies. Okay. And what is the warrant here? Anything preferred by the majority of people would become popular. ممكن أقول كده الwarrant also, or that the majority of students prefer online teaching indicates that it is gaining more popularity. As long as the majority of students prefer online teaching, what does this mean? It means that it's gaining more popularity and more social and educational acceptability. Okay. So here, my warrant is based on what? Is based on statistics, is based on the authority of statistics. Okay. Argument number 8. John can be susceptible to have diabetes. ليه بعد الشر? He stays up late for years. Okay. Eats fatty foods and is under insurmountable stress. These are 3, dangerous reasons, dangerous causes of the disease and the other disease, not only diabetes. Okay. So what's the warrant here? Okay, staying up late for years, eating a fatty diet, and being under insurmountable stress are possible causes of diabetes. Now, how do we found our warrant here? It's based on facts, and it's based on symptoms. It's based on hunches. It's based on deduction. As long as we have someone who is staying up late for years and eats fatty food and is stressful and is under continuous stressful and so on, most probably he is so vulnerable or susceptible to have diabetes. Okay. Gaming addiction is a big problem in China, and the government often links it to ill health in children. This is a claim. And why does the government in China do that and considers gaming, electronic gaming, لعب إلكترونية, which are mushroomingly spreading worldwide, and and younger generations, teenagers and children are staying for long hours, day and night, were playing games, and they become addicted to games and so on. It's a very stark and glaring danger to future generations. That's why governments, and here in this case the Chinese government, is doing everything possible in order to put an end to this problem and to combat it. ليه؟ هي بتعمل كده ليه؟ In November, how? Okay, in November it imposed a curfew on on online gaming for under 18s, banning them from playing from 22 till till 8 in the morning. They must sleep, and they shouldn't play electronic games at this time, late night till early morning. This is a time where people should sleep in order to have healthy bodies and to keep their mental health and their psychological states and so on. And what is the warrant here? Protecting people from all forms of danger is a priority to governments. This is what a warrant based on what? On law, constitution, policies. According to the law, according to the constitution, all governments must prioritize or put or set as a priority keeping people's lives and keeping and protecting and guarding people's health, especially children and teenagers who are so vulnerable to the negative impacts of electronic gaming. يبقى law, constitution برضه be used as warrants. We base our warrants on. Let's take another example. COVID-19 will have negative effects on disadvantaged children for years to come. This is a point of view. Why? They will not be able to catch up with the massive amount of information, and they have the fewest resources available. Information, and we are living in the age of knowledge, and knowledge is multiplying, and there is an explosion of knowledge that is swaying and storming us, overflowing everywhere. And also this would decrease their learning opportunities and academic achievement, and regressions that will be much harder to remedy. The repercussions and the negative impact of COVID-19, especially on disadvantaged poor children in slum areas and in poor countries, and children coming from poor backgrounds, will be so massive and so tremendous. طيب نعمل إيه بقى؟ The reasons provided sound sufficient as long as COVID-19 has such negative impacts. Okay, these are sufficient reasons for us to predict really that COVID-19 will disadvantage children most, and accept this claim and link it to its ground and accept the whole argument. Number 11. Some people think that remote learning is not problem-free. Of course, we said that any human activity is not problem-free. There are pros and cons. Let's see why. Making real-world connections and spending time with peers and focusing on lessons are so difficult to get. These are the drawbacks of the pitfalls of remote learning. We do not interact face-to-face, such intimacy, such interaction, first-hand experience. All these things are missing, and of course they impact us negatively. طيب نعمل warrants ازاي؟ Okay, things, activities عامة بقى, not just remote learning. Things, activities, programs that have side effects are not problem free. This is by definition. No, برضو من warrant is warrant by definition, based on definition. But as long as there are problems 1, 2, 3, and so on, this means that the program which is remote learning is not problem free. It is problematic. It involves many problems as cited here. Number 12, carriers and fighters are going away in the next few years. This is a claim. What are carriers and fighters? Carriers الحاملات الطائرات and fighters اللي هم المقاتلات الحربية are going away, will vanish in the next few years. This is a claim. Why? On which basis? Yeah. Or on which grounds? Companies are spending from 13 to 17 billion dollars on research to develop level 4 autonomous vehicles. Level 4 autonomous vehicles which are self-driving. They do not need human drivers. And you know that self-driving cars, there are many brands of self-driving cars, and there is a very severe competition between mega tech companies such as Google, Uber, and the Apple, and they are working in day and night to develop self-driving vehicles and cars that do not need human drivers. Based on what? Based on artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is technology is taking over in everything, not only in military operation, but in everything. Another reason the U.S. Air Force is currently using drones اللي هي الطائرات المسيرة to replace piloted planes instead of using human drivers, the human pilots. The U.S. Air Force will replace them by drones. The idea is that in the near future, armies will be automated and soldiers, robots will fight, and armies will be armies of robots, and everything will be, automated. Just under the control of human beings, just to oversee and supervise, and everything is done by the machines. This is very, very interesting, but at the same time, it arouses a lot of fears. And there is a debate, a very hot debate, on to what extent can we depend on artificial intelligence in the future. But whether we like it or not, this will take place, and artificial intelligence is gaining a momentum and is replacing humans in many fields, including arts. And what's the word here? The word here is with more advanced technology taking over. When new advanced technology appears, okay, all technology goes away. This is fact. Yeah. Look at history. Whenever we have more advanced technology, old technology disappears. It becomes a part of history. So this is life, and this is how the natural course of things. اوكي يا جماعه؟ يبقى هنا برضو الورنت بتاعنا مؤسس على ايه؟ على fact. These are different kinds of warrant: facts, principles, values, laws, and constitutions, theories, experts, taxonomies, statistics, hunches, lots of things. طبعا this is a commentary I have written as artificial intelligence research and technology are making incredible achievements in the field of autonomous vehicles. It's likely that carriers and fighters jets would disappear. So in accordance with these grounds, we can move safely to the claim and accept it. Number 13, the U.S. labor market is improving unexpectedly. Why? The unemployment rate fell to 13.3%, down from 14.7% in April, as business started hiring again. Under the pandemic, people were, staying at home, and there was general lockdown in almost every part in the world. And the businesses were shutting, and people suffer from unemployment. Economies all over the world suffer a great deal. And with the gradual, with gradual removal of restriction, we find that unemployment rate fell, and people start to go to work again, and the businesses start to work again, and so on. تمام. طيب. Warrants are statistics. As long as you have statistics, you must believe in. Otherwise, you must provide counter statistics. Remember that any argument of all these arguments اللي احنا قدمناها يا جماعة could be refuted. ممكن تدحض, could be refuted, could be, you could find opponents, people who say, no, we don't believe in this. But those who oppose these arguments must provide sound claims supported by data and linked by, by words, and we look at both kinds of arguments, and we see which one is stronger, which one is more solid, one is more appealing, and so on. This is how things go. Okay? Statistics, these pieces of evidence are sufficient to make the claim above. Okay, as long as we have these statistics, okay, well, let's accept this claim and justify it. Okay? And let's go to number 14. Mona looked happy yesterday. How? She laughed and said motivational words to everyone she meets or she met. Okay. What does this mean? What's the word here? Laughter. Here, I generalize. Laughter. And the motivational speech, malhum, are signs that someone is happy. We deduce, we infer, we conclude. This deduction or conclusion, as long as you have someone who is laughing and saying motivational speech, motivational words, and nice words to others, and his very high spirits and on cloud 7, as people say. So what does this mean? It means that definitely he or she is happy. Yeah. Finally, we have argument number 15. John will win school elections next week. How or why? Many of my colleagues will vote for him. ده بس كده. Okay. And what's the word? My colleagues are a representative sample of school students. This is an induction. As long as my colleagues will vote for him, and my colleagues represent in one way or another the total population of school, the students, we can deduce, or we can say that that he gonna win, John gonna win school elections next week. Based on what? Based on induction. Okay. With this, I come to the end of my discussion. The purpose of this discussion was to get you more familiar with the idea of argument, because arguments are there in our daily life, and our conversations are full of arguments, because we need to share ideas with people, to convince people of our ideas.